Welcome back to the Sad Fan, where we talk about the good, the bad, and everything that made you sad from the previous week. And we've got a bit of a special episode. It is playoff day for college football. It is the first 12-team bracket we've ever had. So we're gonna really address that, and we're gonna do our best with a million things going on and a million things on everyone's minds. So last night there was Indiana Notre Dame. Wes, you got to watch that game. Tell me a little bit about how that went down. It seemed like it was a Notre Dame blowout.
It really was. I thought Indiana had a chance actually at first because they picked it off and they were driving down and looked like they were going to score a touchdown, go up 7-0, and then they threw a pick, and then literally the next play was a 98-yard touchdown run for Notre Dame. So that was a really quick 180. And I feel like
Right up Indiana, the middle, right? It looked like it was an off tackle.
I feel like it was a sweep, but the Indiana defenders took terrible angles. It was so bad, and I feel like they never really recovered afterwards. I don't know. I feel like Indiana is better than that, but also I just feel like Curt Cignetti played scared. He coached scared the entire game. He was coaching not to get blown out, and he wasn't coaching to win.
It looked like it was strength on strength, right? Indiana's whole strength this season has been their offense, and Notre Dame has had a strong defense all year, but Notre Dame has a sneaky good offense as well, and they're just a better, more talented team.
Indiana's defense held up pretty well. They were doing pretty good. They kept them within, like, they're the ones that stopped it from being a blowout for the most part.
Well, you got to show up when your offense doesn't show up. One half of the equation has to show up. But, I mean, now Notre Dame has a date with Georgia, and Georgia's not practicing with their starting quarterback, Stetson Bennett, because of the injury he suffered in the SEC championship game.
Probably going to be, what's his name? Gunner
Stockton?
Yeah, Gunner Stockton. That's the most quarterback name I've ever heard.
Gunner Stockton and Jackson Dart over at Ole Miss.
I know.
But yeah, no, it's looking like Bennett's out, maybe for the playoffs. And then we've got Georgia, who just got Etienne back, I believe, going up against Notre Dame, who's been hot since their loss to Northern Illinois. They have been. And I think they've been able to accomplish quite a bit with what they have over at Notre Dame. And I don't know that they have the best wide receivers. I don't know if they have the best offensive line, but somehow all those pieces come together and they've been able to bounce back from that terrible loss to Northern Illinois. So going into Georgia, do you even give them a chance?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think Marcus Freeman's an incredible coach. He's way better than Brian Kelly, the D-bag that stepped down.
He didn't step down. He took more money at LSU.
Yeah, and he hasn't done crap at LSU. Let's be real here.
He's lost 3 games a year pretty consistently.
Yeah, definite improvement at coach for Notre Dame, and I think he's going to keep him in the game. And
definitely
honestly,
in the looks department, much more attractive coach than Brian Kelly.
Yeah, and Georgia hasn't really impressed me at all this season. I mean, they went to like 1 million overtimes against Georgia Tech. They lost bad to Alabama. I mean, they had some luck at the end to make it look somewhat competitive, similar to Indiana. But I think Notre Dame wins. I wouldn't be surprised
if Notre Dame wins. That's pretty bold. That's pretty bold. I mean, Riley Leonard was good at Duke, and he had a terrible injury at Duke that ended his college career over at Duke. And he's been pretty good at Notre Dame, but not what he was at Duke. So I'd love to see him have a coming out game of some kind there. But we'll just see if it actually happens. Indiana was fun. That's the most I can say for Indiana. They were fun all year. You're saying you think they're better than they performed. I don't know that they are, to be honest. There were a lot of, players from James Madison, a lot of transfer portal guys, not really any homegrown talent, nobody growing up in the system. I mean, obviously, they came over from James Madison because that was Cignetti's old team. But I think you need more than that. I don't think you can win a transfer portal.
No, I mean, I think Indiana is only going to get better. I think once they actually get some of their own guys coming in and they're able to get some really good like key pieces from the transfer portal and not just James Madison guys. I mean, those guys are really good, but I mean, it's clear that they're not up to the talent level that some of the guys from Notre Dame were. So
or the Big Ten, to be honest. Ohio State put it on Indiana in that game. They really put it on Indiana. Now, granted, then went on to lose to Michigan, who lost to Indiana.
Right.
But Ohio State did put it on. It is. It really is looking like a circle, and that's the one thing that Oregon's hoping doesn't happen. Like Oregon is hoping they can go straight line and not circle back to a loss. Like Oregon wants to get through this, and I can't stand Paul Feinbaum. I really can't stand him. I think he's an idiot. I think he's only famous because he's in the Southeastern Conference market and he takes calls. Like the only reason Paul Feinbaum is watchable or listenable at all is because of the callers. Paul Feinbaum's not a good listen. Paul Feinbaum is annoying. Paul Feinbaum's a one-trick pony. He might as well just sit up there and say Alabama. Like that might be all he says, right?
Yeah.
But he came out and said Oregon was the most upsettable team, I believe. Yeah, I don't think it was that was his exact quote, but that's what he was getting at. And it really comes down to he hates the Big Ten. Like he really does just hate the Big Ten.
I mean, he's an SEC guy, and also ESPN is an SEC guy. It was at the end of the Indiana game. It was so disgusting, like how much SEC they were like it's can't they like hang with the big boys or whatever. They shouldn't have been here, and like maybe the Big Ten just isn't as good as everyone's talking. Everyone's like, it's a Big Ten and the SEC heads above everybody else, and it's clear the SEC is, but I think you can't really make the statement that the Big Ten is heads and shoulders above the ACC and the Big 12. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? I was like, what? He was like, Big Ten's barely won any national championships since whenever. And I was like, they've won the second most national championships outside the SEC.
So, yes, ESPN has to do this. They're very much bought into the SEC. They have to, though. A majority of their
it's a conflict of interest.
Well, they're not necessarily a news organization. They're not really based in journalism. We like to say that, but they're not. They don't have to do anything. You know what I'm saying? It sucks for everybody watching from the outside sitting in, but it also sucks that Oregon didn't blow Penn State out of the water in that game. Like, that sucks. They should have blown Penn State out of the water. It shouldn't have been close. But the fact of the matter is they didn't, and now you know what creeps in? Doubt.
Yeah.
Doubt, obviously.
Well, so here's the thing, though. It's Penn State's obviously a really good team, and this was basically in Penn State's backyard. I mean, there was not a lot of Oregon fans at the Big Ten championship, probably because they're saving their money for playoff tickets. And
are you saying Oregon fans are broke? Is that what you're saying?
We're a broke-ass fan base, okay? We don't have a bunch of, gajillionaires like Ohio State and Michigan, I mean, it's a smaller school for sure. We just happen to have a couple really rich donors like Phil Knight, the Nike guy.
I mean, I was going to say they do have a pretty big sugar daddy. So let's see here. Alabama lost to, when they were the number one team in the country, Vanderbilt. That was the first team they lost.
Georgia State.
Yeah, and they were the number one team in the country when they lost that game. Then they went ahead and they lost to Oklahoma.
By 3 touchdowns. They didn't even score a touchdown.
By 3 touchdowns.
Alabama has no say in this. They did not deserve to get into the playoff. They can be like, oh, we would have given him a better game. No, not really, because you lost to Oklahoma by 3 touchdowns, so shut your mouth.
Probably should have lost to South Carolina before they played Tennessee. There was quite a few games where Alabama looked bad. And overall, what I'm trying to say is, with schools like Oregon, though they did not blow out Penn State, with a giant benefactor like Phil Knight, and Miami just existing in Miami, getting into the NIL game and whatever grifts they got running. Homeboy just got out of prison. What was that guy's name? Shapiro? Nevin Shapiro? Is that his name?
The old Miami booster? Yeah.
Yeah, the dude that was running the Ponzi schemes, he just got out of prison. Whatever grift he's got going on.
Right.
So Miami's going to be in the game. Oklahoma State has Boone T. Pickens. So there is going to be teams buying players, and that's the way it works. And Nick Saban can be all, oh, it was the Wild Wild West. But the thing is, you're just upset that you don't have control over these players. What the SEC and ESPN have to understand is this league's going to be a lot more even now. And that's just the way. There's going to be more parity.
Absolutely. Did you see the clip from Game Day where Shane Gillis called out the SEC for playing players back in the day?
No, but everybody's been doing that for a while, though. Everybody's been saying that about the SEC.
Because Nick Saban was on Game Day, And Shane Gillis was like, oh yeah, everybody, including Alabama, was paying players back then. Isn't that right, Nick? And Nick you could just tell he was pissed. He's like, what the fuck are you doing putting me in this position?
Let's be real. So mad. Who wants to go to Alabama if you have a choice, right? If they're not the ones paying you the most. Like that,
unless you're from there.
Like maybe 1 out of every 4 players wants to go play for Nick Saban. Maybe. But that's still 25%. And they filled in with pro football teams at Alabama and Georgia. All right? The bottom line is, in Athens, there's no other revenue generator. All right? Where Alabama's not in Birmingham. Is it in Montgomery? Is that where, or is it in Birmingham? No, it's in it's
Tuscaloosa.
Alabama's in Tuscaloosa. Thank you. There's no other moneymaker in Tuscaloosa for Alabama. Okay,
that's it.
So there is no incentive to bring these programs down for cheating. So you're gonna look the other way because here's the thing. If you're a reporter there, your lifeblood is them. So if you get rid of your lifeblood, your paycheck, you just did yourself a disservice. So what is the point? So of course they were paying players there. There's nothing else to do.
Exactly. And back on the Alabama thing, they didn't even look. The only game they looked good in this year was against Georgia. That was it. They had one good game, and they based their entire season off of that. We beat Georgia.
Auburn. They looked pretty good against Auburn. They beat Auburn. But they did look good against Auburn. I think Jalen Milroe had like 260 rushing yards or something.
Oh, Auburn.
I keep telling you, some of these quarterbacks are running backs that can throw. They are not quarterbacks. Like Anthony Richardson, rocket arm, but he is a running back that can throw. That dude's a beast.
Jalen Milroe cannot throw.
Jalen Milroe, same. Justin Fields, same. Like I'm just being honest. And I hate we thought that about Josh Allen for a while too, that he was just a running back. Well, actually, let's be real. In Wyoming, we didn't know he could run the ball. Like we had no idea he could run the ball.
We didn't know he could do it because he was in Wyoming.
But in the NFL, we thought, oh, he's just got a rocket arm, but he can run and he's not accurate. And now might be the best quarterback in the NFL after that game against Detroit, which I was looking forward to talking to you about, but we don't have time here. So we've got SMU Penn State. SMU Penn State.
It's coming up next.
I know. What are your thoughts? Talk to me. That was your sneaky sneak. Does SMU have a chance?
Man, I think SMU is going to do better than Indiana. But I still think Penn State gets the dub.
Okay. Is it close though? What's going to happen?
I think it's going to be closer. I think it's going to be close until the fourth quarter, and then Penn State opens it up.
I think Penn State has the athletes, but I don't think James Franklin is that type of coach. I think the only reason he kept up with Oregon is because he had to. So when you have to do it, it changes your coaching style. You're going to have to change the way you do things.
He does like to play to his competition, I feel like.
I think he likes to play to this. Tight butt. He's got a tight butt. And he doesn't want anything to happen. He's so scared something might happen that he doesn't let his players loose. Like, I've heard that Drew Aller has an amazing arm. I've never seen it because I've never gotten to see him let loose, throw all over the field. So I don't know.
I mean, all I did was see him run against Oregon, and that was annoying as hell. I was like, why don't we spy on this guy? He keeps running. Maybe we should put a spy on him.
Or Oregon probably has some pretty great athletes that can run that spy defense as well. Oregon recruits speedsters out there. And the thing is, with SMU, they've got some speedsters too, but I don't think they have the size to keep up with a Penn State. That's going to be the difference that we're going to start to see is that size difference. And when you have those big 300-pound linemen laying on you for quarter after quarter, down after down, it's going to slow you down. I think that's going to be the downfall of SMU in this game. They're just not big enough.
I agree. I don't see SMU winning. I want them to. That would be amazing. I would love it. But
it's weird saying that about a team out of Dallas, Texas, right? It's weird saying that a team out of Dallas, Texas isn't big enough, but I just don't think they are.
But wait till next year. I think they're only going to get better.
We've also got Clemson, Texas, all right? Now, I stand by Tennessee, Ohio State is the crown jewel of this opening day, all right? Tennessee, Ohio State is the game that everybody wants to see. And I think Tennessee's going to lay into Ohio State, and I hope they do. The only thing that's keeping me from fully leaning into that is, man, I don't want to listen to SEC people if Tennessee does just lambaste Ohio State. That's my one thing. I don't want to have to listen to them talk. I just happen to think this year that Ohio State doesn't have the best quarterback. Their coach is fine. He's okay. But,
He's a pussy
he's
boy.
good. He's a college coach. But, well, what do you like? I mean, you just heard Wes's real thoughts on Ryan Day. I mean, I tend to agree. I don't think he's tough at all.
Especially after the Michigan game, that showed who he really is.
He's tough at the mic, right? He's tough talk, but I don't think he do anything. I don't think he stands for anything. Ryan Day is the type of guy that when he gets angry, it just makes everyone else start laughing, like because of how angry he's getting. You ever been around that person that the more and more angry they get, you just start laughing because you're not in any real threat of danger. You're just like, what are you actually gonna do?
He beat Ohio State with all their talent and all their money. They should have been just like dominating for like the last 10 years. And I think part of that is Ryan Day is milquetoast.
Because he's like DC before James Gunn.
Yeah,
like before. I don't want to fade into one of our other shows, but have you seen the Superman?
He's good enough to not get fired.
Have you seen the Superman trailer yet?
No, I need to watch that.
Okay, he's basically Clark Kent before he becomes Superman. That's Ryan Day. But here's the twist on Ryan Day. He's Clark Kent 24 hours. Yeah, he's 24 hours a day. Clark Kent. That is who he is. He is just. I just see him and I laugh at him. That's all I think. Is Ryan Day is a comical human being.
Those rosy cheeks.
He's just a goofball, and it makes me smile because I'm like, man, I'm never gonna be afraid of you, no matter what. Like you're gonna win the national championship one day simply because you're at Ohio State, and I'm still gonna think you suck. It's like Joe Mazzulla over in Boston Celtics, right? Yeah. They won a championship with the Boston Celtics, and I still think he's a complete joke. I'm like, go watch The Town absolutely. Every single night, Joe Mazzulla, and that's what I think of Ryan Day.
Yeah, I'm conflicted too because again, Tennessee, I screw the SEC, but also screw Ohio State. And you know what? As long as Georgia and Texas lose, I'm okay with Tennessee winning. I'm okay with that because also we play the winner of this game, and we've already beat Ohio State. We haven't played SEC for like 15 years, and those were some really fun games. Like my sister went to Knoxville for the Tennessee game. And she said it's like the best environment. Like they were so friendly. Like their fans were amazing. And I'm just like, I want to do that again. I want to play Tennessee.
It's going to be a fun game, but I will go back to this. On last week's episode, I did talk about how Oregon got a raw deal. Oregon got the hardest path to the national championship of any team. Because you know who's going to be waiting for them if they do, in fact, beat the Tennessee or Ohio State team that they have to play? Probably Texas. And I'm sitting here like, geez, what did Oregon do except for win every single game, go undefeated? There was very rarely, except for Boise State, who was close. Boise State was close. They gave you a little pucker. You got a little scared of Boise State at the beginning of the season. But what did they do to deserve the hardest path?
Being number one, I guess.
No, you're supposed to have the easier path if you're number one. That's my confusion.
Here's the thing, though. It's because of the way the seeding is done.
Yeah.
You give automatic buys to conference champions who are not even like top 12 teams. And
yeah, I did see that. Lots of people were complaining about that. Lots of people were like, if you're going to seed it, just seed it exactly how the rankings are.
Exactly. That's what they should do. The top 4 teams get a bye. Okay? Top 4 teams get a bye. If you win a conference championship, you still get an automatic qualifier, just like the NCAA tournament. But guess what? They don't seed according to conference championships in the NCAA tournament. They give number 1 seeds to those who deserve it. You can have 3 number 1 seeds from the same conference. It doesn't matter. I don't see why that's any different. I think that's going to be the first thing to change.
So here's the thing. If they had seeded it according to the way the playoff ranking seeds are, it would have been still Oregon 1, Georgia 2, Texas 3. Texas would have gotten a bye, and then Penn State would have gotten an additional bye. Would you have agreed with that? Because I don't think Penn State deserves a bye.
No, so here's the thing. I think Notre Dame would have slid into one of those spots. I think Notre Dame would have got the bye.
Even with the loss to Northern Illinois, though.
Yeah, because
I like Boise State having a bye, though. I do. They're the underdogs. I think that the game they put up against Oregon, and you play the teams that are on your schedule. We say that repeatedly. I think they did deserve the bye week. They only lost to BYU, right?
Yeah, no. Sorry. Boise State lost to Oregon. That's it.
That's right. Boise State only lost to Oregon. They beat BYU. And BYU, and it's also not Boise State's fault that BYU had a complete collapse. Like, out of nowhere, they just totally collapsed. And I don't think Arizona State deserved a bye week, to be frank.
No.
Arizona State came out of nowhere. That's your penalty for having the Big 12 and Colorado as your crown jewel. Congratulations. You've got Arizona State as your conference champion, and now we all have to deal with them having a bye week when they couldn't win 6 games in the Pac-12.
No. Yeah, they cut through the Big 12 like butter. I mean, granted, they look really good now. They were bad last year. They would have been good this year in the Pac-12.
They've had a couple years, right, because of all the penalties that the NCAA placed on them because of what Herman Edwards was doing.
I don't know what the hell that guy was on.
How could he cheat so much and still be so bad?
I don't know.
That's a great question, right? Like, is there a worse cheater than Herman Edwards? Like, how do you cheat so... Like, Jim Harbaugh cheated and won a national championship. What's wrong with you? Like, how do you not do this? How do you not know how to cheat? Can you think of a worse cheater in your lifetime? Like, even in any scenario. Like a bad car thief that just turns himself into the police.
No.
Who is a worse cheater than Herman Edwards?
He had no idea what he was doing in college. Okay, he just stepped into a world that he had no clue of.
And they asked him to step into the road after. That's what you were getting at when you said stepped into a road. Yeah. Because it was bad. It was bad at Arizona State. You know who he had at Arizona State as his quarterback?
Nobody.
Jaden Daniels.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He had Jaden Daniels, and he couldn't do anything. Jaden Daniels looks phenomenal in the NFL. He looks great. He's had a great rookie year. He's probably going to win Rookie of the Year simply because it's a quarterback award now.
No, it's a toss-up right now with Bo Nix.
Stop it, you Oregon.
It is. It really is. You can say all you want, but, man, Bo Nix is looking good.
They won on Thursday night, correct? They just won again?
No, they lost to the Chargers, but both of them
lost to the Chargers. They lost.
Herbert and Nix balled out, man. I'm so happy to watch them play against each other. I like watching
quarterbacks.
It's fun watching two great Oregon quarterbacks play against each other twice a year. Like, that makes me so happy. And they're like such bros before the game.
This is why you can't be trusted, though. This is why it's because of the middle of that sentence. I enjoy watching two great Oregon quarterbacks. It's always Oregon. I swear. If what's his face had worked out, you would be like, I love watching defensive ends from Oregon. What was his name? The 6'7" defensive end, drafted 3rd overall. What was that guy's name?
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, the Dolphins picked him 3rd overall. He was like a giant human being, and he just was nothing in the NFL.
Nothing.
But it's Oregon with you. Now you do enjoy a good game. You do enjoy football season. It's probably your favorite sport. You pulled up on your Kraken stuff. You haven't been doing the Kraken as much ever since the playoff run.
I have not. I mean, I haven't really paid it. I haven't really paid much attention to them during football season. I mean,
yeah, we need to rope you back into your favorite things, and all we need is Seattle to get a basketball team, and you're back. We need Oregon to not drop an easy game in the NCAA and keep winning, and then we got you back for college basketball. See, it's not that you're not a fan of these other sports.
Oregon looks really good at college basketball.
It's not that you're not a fan of these other sports, Wes. It's that you're tired of having your heart ripped out, and you don't want to have to focus on it all the time. And I think right now, Wes, you're scared of the NCAA playoff. Am I right?
I mean, I'm scared that we're going to lose.
That's what I'm saying. You don't want to lean too far into anything because you're so terrified that your heart will get ripped out.
I've already leaned too far into this season. It's too far gone. No matter what happens, my heart's getting ripped out unless
I heard about you forgetting about the second half of whatever game you went to. I remember you told me about that. You drank so much you forgot the second half ever happened.
Well, that was the Washington game, and that's just because we were kicking the crap out of them, and I was enjoying the hell out of it. So I was like, I'm just going to get wasted.
I'm just going to have a good time. But, let go of that. You see me with the Raiders this year? I've been so fun and fancy-free because I just let it go.
You see me with the Seahawks this year? I just don't care. I'm like, yeah, they suck. Like, somehow they're still in the middle of the playoff race, but let's be real. They're going to get boat raced in the first round if they make it.
They're still leading the NFC West, I believe.
No, I think they're tied with the Rams right now.
But I think they have the number 1 spot. I think that you're right. The records are tied, but I think they have the number 1 spot. So
we also got the Vikings coming up, and we're probably going to get slapped by the Vikings. Let's be real.
Creative verbiage this episode from Wes teaching all these.
We're going to get owned by Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is going to slap us around
with his penis, as you've recently said. No,
with his penis.
So the Rams are ahead in the division. It has been weird, but you have a rookie head coach in Seattle. You have a rookie head coach in Seattle.
I have faith in him. I mean, he was good in Baltimore, and I mean, it's hard to judge based off of the first year. The guy doesn't have all of his players that he wants. He hasn't done a draft yet.
Frustrated. Stop being so serious. All right, we're a fun sports show. What has he done that just pisses you off? What has he done that just pisses you off?
Honestly, nothing. I don't know if I've really been pissing me off.
He's
kept Geno in the game. He's kept Geno in the game. He hasn't
been. No, you don't want Sam Howell. You don't want Sam Howell going in there. You don't want.
Yeah, I do. It's called the tankathon. Okay, it's called tanking.
So I've been upset with his defense. He was purported to be this great defensive genius, and I haven't seen it. I haven't not seen that out of the Seattle Seahawks.
I mean,
team.
Our defense wasn't good last year either. It takes, you can't just go into the transfer portal in the NFL and
yes, you can. It's called free agency. It's called free agency. You absolutely can. There's just a salary cap in the NFL.
Exactly. There's a salary cap.
We're going to get to that soon with college football. And speaking of that, you know what team would hate the college football salary cap? Texas. Because Texas has all the money in the world. And I'm thinking this is a game where we could see an upset. I think
Clemson wins. Texas has not shown me anything this year. Texas, they played two good teams this year, and they lost to them. Well, that one good team twice, which is Georgia.
and the second time they didn't have the starting quarterback.
And they still got beat by Georgia. They still got their ass kicked.
I think we're both bitter, though. I think we're both bitter because we both picked Texas in both the games against Georgia this year, and they lost both the games against Georgia. And you and I have both expected a lot from Texas because on paper, they're insanely talented.
Yeah, and also their coach is Steve Sarkisian, who's a recovering alcoholic and a douche canoe. So whereas you have Dabo, who's actually won something.
That felt unnecessary. You're just like, recovering alcoholic. How did we find that out? He was coaching UW and drinking in the coach's office.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Maybe that was a step bridge too. I let Wes a little too far out of. I let Wes a little too far out of the cage. We got to reel him back in.
Dabo's actually won something. Okay, he's won a couple national championships, and he's been there. He knows what it's like, and I think Clemson's going to beat
with
Texas.
An alleged sexual offender of his own on his roster.
Yeah, he kept that under control somehow.
I
mean, he kept that guy in his cage. Okay.
No, only spiritual massages for Deshaun. No physical massage for Deshaun.
He said, Deshaun, you don't get massages while you're at Clemson.
We'll pray for your muscles is what's going to happen here. But you're picking Clemson outright here, huh?
Yeah, I'm picking Clemson outright.
Wow. So you think it's going to be Clemson, Oregon?
In the Final Four?
Oh, no. Pardon me. It's Clemson, Arizona State.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Clemson, Arizona State. And I think Clemson plays Oregon in the Final Four.
Jeez. I said it could be Clemson or Texas in that next game after they have to beat either Tennessee or Ohio State. But you think Clemson just bounces all the way through?
Texas is a paper tiger.
Man, I don't like Klubnik as a quarterback name. We talked about some cool quarterback names. Gunnar Stockton is not Caden Klubnik. All right,
it's all about the name.
So let's talk about the names that were in the Heisman race as we end the show this week. All right, we had 4 really big players, right? We had Genty, we had Dylan Gabriel, they invited Cam Ward for no reason, and then you had Travis Hunter, right? So
Cam Ward was just there because they needed a 4th.
Is that what happened?
It's the top 4 vote getters.
I don't know. But I was torn, man. I think Genty had one of the best running back seasons I've ever seen in my entire life. I felt like he carried a team that without him would not be where they are with this bye week right now. He ran through the number 1 team in the nation. Ran through them. Didn't he put up 200 yards against Oregon?
Something like that. Yeah, it was like high 100s. It was
crazy. It was crazy. Even you had PTSD from watching him run.
I did. He's good. He's really good. He's generational running back.
And then you have the human highlight reel that is Travis Hunter, right? And I think that that's the only reason he won. I don't know, man.
Well, so here's the thing. People keep comparing it like, oh, who's going to be better in the NFL? And I'm like, yeah, Travis Hunter might not be able to play every snap in the NFL. And so I think Genty might have more production because I think Genty is a better running back than Travis is a wide receiver. But the thing is, I mean, Travis Hunter did something that no one's ever done.
It's not true. It's not true. Charles Woodson did it.
Charles Woodson was nowhere near as productive on both sides of the ball.
No, but he was a better cornerback than Travis Hunter was.
I don't know, because Travis is a top 5 wide receiver and cornerback right now. And like doing both of those is just crazy. And being able
Charles
to
Woodson returned kicks.
Didn't Travis Hunter return kicks? He probably did.
You're gonna give him everything. He probably played quarterback for them every once in a while when Shador went down. He probably played lineman. I would assume maybe a little tight end.
He returned a pair of kickoffs and punts for touchdowns.
Okay, this year?
Yeah, this year.
All right,
there you go, man.
Maybe he does deserve it. Maybe he does deserve it.
I think he does. I think
either player was warranted.
Yeah. And it was close. It was the closest in like over 10 years. So closest voting in 10 years. And which is surprising because I thought Travis Hunter was going to run away with it just based on the odds alone, based on the Vegas odds. But
what I think we'll see in 2 weeks. Was Ashton Genty worthy of this, of being so close to Travis Hunter, right? Because only one of those players got their team to the playoffs.
That's true.
So we'll see what happens. I hope Boise State shows up. I really do. Who's it looking like they might play? SMU or Penn State, right?
Yeah. Probably Penn State.
So probably Penn State, which has a big defensive line for him to run up into. So we'll see. We will see. But I'm hoping Boise State shows up.
I do too. I wouldn't be surprised if they beat Penn State. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
All right, man. Well, I guess that's all we got for this week, except for what's your etiquette on showing up to the airport, Wes? How many hours early do you show up to the airport?
Like 90.
90 minutes?
Yeah.
I still show up too.
No. I mean, I have pre-check. I could show up 60 minutes and I'd be fine. Too. But I like to get some food before my flight.
Oh, you gotta go to the lounge though. That's what you're saying. You didn't want to say it out loud.
No, not the lounge, just Qdoba. I like to, especially in the morning. I like my Qdoba breakfast burrito at the SeaTac airport.
I literally only want one thing. He's like, if they make me security, because that's right by the other side of the security check-in line at SeaTac. It really is. It's like you come through the SeaTac line, right on your left, there's Qdoba. But they have another security line that's all the way at the other end of the airport. So if they send you to that one, are you just pissed the whole time because you got to run to Qdoba? Or you're just like, send me all the way to this one. I hate this one.
So that's usually the one I go in because it has clear and pre-check. And so I cut all the lines, and it takes me like 5 minutes to get through. Yeah, but that's fine.
You're like, I just want my Qdoba.
I don't mind walking.
Oh, that's so funny. I used to go to the lounge at SeaTac quite a bit, but I used to go to that place. There's this Hawaiian place at SeaTac that does drinks in Spam containers and stuff like that because I used to fly American Airlines.
So here's the thing. Delta got rid of, like, you pretty much have to have, like, either the Amex Platinum card or, like, the American Express, like, Delta Reserve card in order to get access, or you have to be, like, a Diamond member, which is, like, insane. I mean, I got upgraded to first class on the way back from Orlando. I didn't even have lounge access. So I was like, what is this crap? I want my free drinks. I'm trying to get drunk.
I'm gonna sign you onto my platinum account just so you can get these free drinks.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm gonna send you the alert. I'm gonna send you the hey, apply for this, and then just use it on your groceries. So you just use it so you can get into the platinum lounge.
Yeah, just put me on your guest list.
I'm telling you, people who are not using the lounge are sleeping on how to airport. You need to use the lounges everywhere you go.
I've been in the lounge a couple times. I love it. It's free drinks and food. It's great.
And it's silent and relaxing when you're in there. It's not hustle and bustle. You're not looking for a chair everywhere. You got a place to sit.
No kids.
Well, there are kids sometimes, but like the Dallas one, they got showers. So if you had that long 9-hour flight, you just take a shower. Yeah, take a quick shower, feel refreshed, get out, go grab some food, grab your drink, and just relax. Like, I miss it so much. I miss traveling for work.
It's time to get back into it, man.
We'll see what happens when we get to Germany. All right, everybody. This has been the SadFan. We appreciate you, and we will see you next week.